And welcome back to more of Mega Man X, and this time we got full sub-tanks, we got 9 lives, time to take on Sigma's Fortress. And per request, I am going to show off how to get the Hadouken after everything's all said and done. But right now I'd just rather get the game done with. And this actually would have been a nice place to cut to Zero's gameplay, you know, as long as they didn't make it too different from X. And pretty much all you're doing is just clearing out enemies. And I don't really know what Zero meant when he said keep the main defense force busy. But at least he made our job a lot easier because we were just dealing with tortoises and then those purple jerks. And speaking of purple jerks in this platforming section, these guys can come in and knock you off the platforms. So just be careful when you're dealing with them. Yeah, that one just put me in a bad spot. Yeah, I knew you were gonna show up. And it is pretty easy to get yourself killed in this part. You know, just because it's pretty easy to get knocked off these narrow platforms and, you know, all those things. But now that we're here, I guess the main defense force really is busy. So let's just clear these guys out. And it doesn't really matter how much health you have, and you'll see why pretty soon. And our old friend Vile's back. So let's just see what's going on over there. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Although I do like the sound effect that they do. And then this happens. So we get to fight Vile again, and unfortunately it goes just as badly as it does the first time. And he can just charge at me. So I'm just gonna let him win here. I mean, you can actually cause trouble for him and just keep jumping over his fist whenever he just punches, but at the end of the day you're just delaying the inevitable because he can just charge at you and you have no way of jumping over it. Just like that. Alright, just capture me already. And unfortunately, since that went just as bad as it did the first time, Zero's gonna have to help me out again. Well, I guess he decided to take Vile with him. And unfortunately, Vile's still alive, and not really sure what X is gonna do here. Well, he can do just that, which then begs the question as to why he couldn't do that earlier. But then again, this is just a video game, so I don't really know why I'm questioning the logic of a Mega Man game. Anyway, Vile's pattern is pretty simple. He likes to jump around a lot, and he can either shoot at you, or he can shoot those capturing at you, or he can throw bombs when he's in the air. His weakness is the homing torpedo. And I thought that was going to be the end of him. But yeah, that went pretty quickly. Not so tough without your right armor, are ya? Well, shit. And yeah, Zero ends up getting himself killed. And just like a video game, they just fade out of existence for whatever reason. So now I must persevere on. And let's see, this section, you can speed through it by doing exactly as I did. And this section is going to be a little bit tougher because, you know, you have these knights. Alright, try that again. Yeah, I am going to take some damage here because, well, this section is very annoying. It's not really that hard, it's just more or less annoying. And, let's see, the main thing that makes it annoying is these flying drones that just like to pop up and make life hard for you. Let's just go. And then, just like before, we're just gonna use the waltz to our advantage here. And we got our first refight, or our first boss refight, and this is gonna be Boomer Kuwanger. And this is gonna be a lot easier with the homing torpedo because when he decides to teleport, you can still hit him, which is at least a good thing. I mean, compared to the X-Buster where I just had to keep waiting and waiting until I got a good shot. Alright, let's just do this. And fortunately, most of these boss fights are gonna go pretty quickly, so I'm not really sure if I have to, you know, speed them up or cut them out or anything, and don't really think that's gonna be a problem. Speaking of Metools, and let's see, they decide to keep some of the more annoying enemies for the end of the stage because we are actually getting pretty close to the boss. And the Metools really aren't that hard, it's just their placement that makes them pretty easy to get hit by. And not to mention more of these purple jerks. Alright, let's just take you out. And we're up to our first boss, and this is going to be the Bow Spider. And the way the Bow Spider fights is that every time one of those green things goes across, he moves across pillars. And I am going to be pausing and unpausing a lot because unfortunately I'm not very good at predicting where this guy's going to go. So I'm just going to use the pause to slow the game down. And of course he decides to do this. Alrighty, I think he's going this way. And whenever he likes to shoot those spiders at you, it's just there to annoy you and also just do extra damage to you. And I think I'm just gonna speed this up because, you know, since this is a video game, he just likes to get faster the more you hit him. And yeah, I don't really think you need to see me pausing and unpausing over and over again. And with that, Bow Spider is dead, and we are done with our first Sigma boss. And you do get passwords after these stages, but they don't really matter since you do end up starting at the first Sigma stage anyway. And here we are at the second stage, and the second stage features a lot more platforming. And speaking of which, let's see, these platforms just go in a set pattern, and they're pretty easy to deal with. And what really is the biggest problem here is bats knocking you off, and then also just some ostriches there to annoy you. There is going to be a lot of vertical climbing too, but this first section is actually pretty easy to deal with. And we're up to our next boss fight, and that's going to be Chill Penguin. And see, this guy is a lot quicker to fight with a fire wave, and it's also a lot easier when you're at full power compared to when you got nothing at the beginning of the game. So let's just go ahead and just deal with this guy. And let's see, yeah, he does do that on occasion, but outside of that, this guy's a lot easier because you can just hit him before he does anything. Or unless he decides to hide or behind those penguins. Oh, that's embarrassing, I actually got hit. And now that that's the end of Chill Penguin, let's just keep going here. And let's see, this section, make sure you take out those Reploids early on because otherwise they're just going to come after you with ride armor and, you know, that's never any fun. Oh, shut up. Anyway, let's just mash some more things. And that's one thing I do like about the ride armor parts is that you just get to mash stuff, and it does add a nice gameplay element to this game. Let's see, right here should be another climbing section. I always like going to the left just because I think it's a little bit easier. And just be careful of that last one, you know, just to make sure it doesn't knock you off or anything. Because it is pretty easy to fall back down over and over again. Now for our next refight, and this is going to be Storm Eagle, and its weakness is the Chameleon Sting. And let's see, you don't really have to worry about falling off as much in this in this particular part. Just because they decide to give you more space to work with. Alright, just one more. Alright, let's just get you out of here. And I think this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode because I do want to leave the final Sigma stage for one part. And, you know, that's to cover the ending and all those things. Alright, let's just get you out of the way. And it is pretty easy to get knocked off here, either by bats or by the Night Joes. So let's just do this the easy way, why not? And yeah, that's just for convenience purposes. Because here we are at the next boss, and this is going to be the Rangdandangda. And the way this thing fights, it uses eyes to attack you in different ways. And the colors are either going to be green or blue or red. And red fires off 3 shots, green fires off 1, and then blue just goes after you. I'm going to leave this guy for last, or leave this form for last. Just because I want to get the eyes out first. Alright, let's just try this again. Yeah, that's the problem, is that since the Chameleon Sting's a little slow, it's pretty easy to have these guys close the eye first before, you know, you can do anything. Alright, let's just keep going here. And when both the eyes are gone, this form is just going to go attack over and over again. So let's just get him one more time here. And there were spikes there, but they do fade once you end up beating the boss. You know, I guess they programmed it so that if you hit spikes you die no matter what, but I don't really know. Alright, so take 2 on Sigma Stage 3. Unfortunately, I had some problems with a lot of slowdown, and it just led to a crappy product, so I'm just gonna try again. And, let's see, yeah, here we are just fighting again with Armored Armadillo, and, really it just depends on when he, decides to get out of his role, and then just take care of him the same way we did earlier. And, let's see, this last stage should go by pretty quickly because, it's really more or less just a bunch of mini sections and then the, section, or different boss. So let's just dispose of him and keep going. And yeah, really with these, different parts of the game, they, like to mix it up. So, I mean, you see a bunch of miners here. And then that should be a clue as to we're probably going to fight. As to who we're going to fight next, and it turns out it's going to be Sting Chameleon. Actually, it's really not that good a clue. I think the only dead giveaway is Launch Octopus. So let's just take care of him the same way as I did earlier. And just like... Oh wait, I went the wrong way. That stinks. Alright, just do this the easy way then. And that's it for him. And this is going to be the same as in the original Mega Man where, you know, they just harken back to that where you have a little part of the stage and then a boss and so forth. I think I already said that, but just in case I didn't. Anyway, that's it. I just need to use the boomerang cutter to get some stuff here. Alright, see who's next. Alright, well we got Spark Mandrill next, so let's just do this the easy way. And I am going to be saying that a lot because, you know, these are the Mega Man X bosses. And also just make sure you time it right, otherwise he's going to end up either getting an attack off or you don't freeze him successfully if you shoot him too early. Let's just do this. And yeah, that's what happens when you shoot too early. And fortunately this stage is pretty easy. And hopefully it does go by pretty short because, or go by pretty quickly. That's because I do want to get this stage done with. Okay, the guy didn't eat me. Oh, that's something. Yeah, I think this is really the only dead giveaway as to who you're fighting next. So let's just burst through some fish. And I unfortunately couldn't escape from this one. And with Launch Octopus, you can chop off his tentacles with a boomerang cutter, so I'm just going to show that off right now. So I don't remember if I did earlier in the Let's Play, but then again, I am trying to, you know, get through this. Alright, now that that's the end of that, let's just use the rolling shield to our advantage. And yeah, just keep this up. And unfortunately, with how this is going to go, I'm going to try and get through X2 quickly. I mean, I'm still going to try and play for efficiency, you know, like I did with this one. And I do plan on taking out all the X Hunters, so I mean, X2 should be pretty interesting, even if I haven't played it in a while. I do need to do a practice run at some point. I mean, fortunately, it's cooled down here, so the room in which I record isn't so hot that I can't even make it through without sweating too much. And we should be up to our last boss, and this is going to be Flame Mammoth. And yeah, with Flame Mammoth you can do the same thing with a boomerang cutter. You can chop off his trunk, and really what this serves is that he doesn't change the direction of the conveyor belts. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this boss fight. I mean, you guys already know what's up, so you know, I'm just not gonna try and act like you don't know anything, cause, well, guess what you do. So with that, we are up to the last boss, and this is gonna be the, I guess, the dinosaur tank, or D-Rex as the game calls it. And what makes the dinosaur tank so dangerous is that, A, it has this big freaking spark that it shoots, and also it can drive into walls and then crush you and then do a lot of damage. And then do that. Yeah, that's what happens when it crashes into the walls. You end up getting knocked off. And here's the big spark. And I unfortunately end up getting hit by both of them. That was sloppy. But fortunately, the boomerang cutter does more than enough damage. And with that, that is the end of Sigma Stage 3, and that is one of the longer stages in this fortress. And fortunately, the last stage is pretty short, but at the same time, the boss fight is kind of long, and I also want to get the ending in the last video, so join me next time as we take out Sigma and end the rebellion. See you then.